Good morning, friends. What city are you watching from today? Tell us in the comments and enjoy the story. Adrian, stay after practice. I need to talk to you alone. Ryan said it quietly, like the words were meant for me and nobody else, which would have been comforting if he had not been standing 20 feet away with his arms folded and that impossible captain expression on his face. The gym was almost empty. Sneakers squeaked somewhere near the hallway. A basketball rolled slowly under the bleachers, and the last few guys were grabbing their bags and arguing about where to get burgers. I stood beside my locker, pretending those 8 words had not just rearranged every thought in my head. Alone? I asked, because apparently my brain had decided repeating the most terrifying part was useful. Ryan glanced toward the exit. After everyone leaves. Great, perfect, completely normal. Nothing suspicious about my captain asking me to stay behind in an empty gym after 3 weeks of me working extremely hard not to make it obvious that I had a ridiculous crush on him. There were only 2 possible explanations. 1. Ryan had figured me out and was about to tell me, very professionally, to stop looking at him like he had personally invented basketball. 2. I had done something wrong and he was about to kick me off the rotation. Somehow, option 2 felt less embarrassing. Okay, I managed. Ryan held my eyes for half a second longer than necessary, then turned away and walked toward Coach Daniels. That half second was the problem. Ryan had been doing that lately, looking at me like he was about to say something, then deciding not to. I watched him cross the court and immediately told myself to stop watching him cross the court. I failed. For context, I had known who Ryan Carter was, long before Ryan Carter knew Adrian Cole existed. That was not because I was obsessed. I prefer the term academically interested in excellent basketball leadership. Ryan had been Westbridge University's starting point guard since his sophomore year, and by junior year, he was captain. I had watched clips of him during recruiting season because I wanted to understand the program. At least, that was the official version. The less official version was that Ryan played like the court belonged to him, without ever acting like the people on it did. He remembered who needed encouragement, who needed space, and when to take responsibility instead of handing blame to somebody else. When I transferred to Westbridge, I told everyone it was because the team fit my style. That was true. It was also true that the first time Ryan shook my hand and said, "Glad you're here, Adrian," I forgot every intelligent sentence I had prepared. 3 weeks later, I had somehow become the guy he stayed late to train with. He corrected my footwork without making me feel stupid. He remembered I hated grape sports drinks and started leaving orange ones near the bench. Once, after I jammed my wrist during drills, he asked me about it the next morning before I had even mentioned it to the trainer. None of that meant anything. Captains noticed things. Good captains especially. That was what I kept telling myself, right up until the locker room door closed behind the last teammate. Suddenly, the gym felt twice as big and 10 times quieter. Ryan was standing at center court waiting for me. No coach, no teammates, no explanation. Just Ryan and me beneath the overhead lights. I walked toward him, trying to look calm while my heartbeat ignored the assignment. "So," I said, stopping a few feet away, "am I in trouble?" Ryan did not smile. His eyes moved toward the hallway, making sure we were really alone, then came back to mine. "Not yet," he said. My stomach dropped. Ryan lowered his voice. "But somebody on this team is trying to make sure we both are." For a second, I forgot how to breathe normally. "What do you mean? Somebody is trying to get us in trouble?" I asked. Ryan glanced toward the empty hallway again, then back at me. Blake. That name landed harder than I expected. Blake Mercer was a senior forward, one of the loudest voices in the locker room, and the guy everyone assumed would become captain if Ryan ever gave up the role. I frowned. "Blake has barely spoken to me." Ryan gave me a look. "That does not mean he has not been paying attention to you." I folded my arms. That sounds extremely comforting. The corner of Ryan's mouth moved like he almost smiled, but the expression disappeared fast. "He thinks I am giving you special treatment." I stared at him. You make me run extra drills after everybody leaves. Exactly. That is special treatment? According to Blake, apparently suffering privately with the captain is a privilege. I laughed before I could stop myself. Ryan's finally smiled, and that was somehow worse for my concentration than the threat of team drama. Then he became serious again. He told Coach Daniels I am changing rotations because of you. My stomach tightened. Are you? Ryan blinked. Am I what? Changing rotations because of me? Adrian. His voice dropped slightly. You earned those minutes. I looked away because hearing that from him did something embarrassing to my chest. Ryan continued. Yesterday Blake told 2 guys that you only made the second unit because I wanted you there. Great. I have been here 3 weeks, and I already have a conspiracy theory. It gets worse. Of course it did. I looked back at him. Please tell me he thinks I secretly control the scoreboard too. Ryan did not laugh this time. He has been watching us. The gym suddenly felt quieter. Watching us? How? The extra practices. The times we stay late. He has been asking people why I keep choosing you for drills. I swallowed. And what did you tell him? Ryan looked at me for a long moment. Nothing. That answer hurt more than it should have. I tried to hide it. Right, smart. Keep distance. Protect the captain. His eyebrows pulled together. That is not what I meant. Then what did you mean? Ryan stepped closer. Not enough to invade my space. Just enough that I had to stop pretending this was a casual conversation. I mean, I did not give him an explanation because he does not deserve one. I held his gaze. And I do? Something changed in Ryan's face. Softer. More careful. Yes. My heart immediately became useless. I looked down at the hardwood. You are making this conversation very confusing. I know. That is not an apology. I know that too. I almost smiled. Then Ryan said, there is something else. I looked up. He pulled his phone from his pocket and opened a message thread. Blake sent this to one of the assistants this afternoon. Ryan turned the screen toward me. It was a photograph of us from 2 nights earlier, standing beside the bench after practice. Nothing inappropriate. Nothing dramatic. Just Ryan handing me an orange sports drink while I smiled at something he had said. Under the picture was a message accusing Ryan of favoritism. My stomach dropped. He took that picture? I do not know yet. But he is using it. Ryan nodded. Anger replaced my embarrassment. So what happens now? Nothing tonight. Ryan. Adrian, I need you to trust me. I stared at him. You called me into an empty gym, told me a teammate is trying to damage both of us, showed me a secret picture, and now you want trust? Ryan held my eyes. Yes, I should have said no. Instead, I heard myself ask, what are we going to do? Ryan's expression changed immediately. Not relief exactly. Something stronger. First, we stop giving Blake what he expects. Which is, Ryan put his phone away. He expects us to panic and turn against each other. I lifted an eyebrow. And instead, Ryan looked directly at me. Instead, tomorrow morning, you train with me like nothing happened. I stared at him. People already think you favor me. Then earn every second so nobody can argue. That was the Ryan I had watched before I ever met him. Calm under pressure, already thinking 3 moves ahead. I nodded slowly. Fine. Ryan started toward the exit, then stopped beside me. Adrian? Yeah? His voice was quieter now. For what it is worth, I do notice you more than the others. Before I could ask what that meant, he walked away, leaving me alone at center court with one completely useless thought. Blake was trying to destroy my place on the team, and somehow Ryan had just made that the second most confusing thing happening to me. The next morning, I arrived at the gym at 6:45 and found Ryan already shooting free throws. Like sleep was a rumor he had personally rejected. He caught the rebound, glanced at me, and said, "You are late." I checked the clock above the bleachers. By 15 seconds. Still late. You are a terrible influence. Warm up. That was Ryan. Apparently being targeted by a teammate did not cancel footwork drills. I dropped my bags to the bench and started stretching, while pretending I had not spent half the night, replaying his last sentence from the day before. I do notice you more than the others. Very normal captain behavior. Extremely professional. I told myself that right up until Ryan tossed me an orange sports drink without asking what flavor I wanted. I caught it and stared at him. You are making Blake's argument for him. Ryan picked up another ball. You hate grape. That is not the point. Then stop making bad points before 7 in the morning. I laughed despite myself. For the next 40 minutes, we trained exactly like nothing had happened. Ryan pushed my pace, corrected my timing, and made me repeat the same corner shot until my legs started complaining. Again, he said. I made 5. You missed 3. That sounds like selective memory. Captains have excellent memory. Apparently for drink flavors too. Ryan paused. Just for a second. Then he looked away and bounced the ball back to me. Again, Adrian. There it was, that tiny shift. Like I had stepped too close to something neither of us had named. I took the shot. Clean. Ryan nodded once. Better. I grinned. You could say good. Do not get greedy. We moved into passing drills, and for a while everything felt simple. Just basketball. Just the squeak of shoes, the bounce of the ball. Ryan calling out angles while I tried to keep up. Then the side door opened. Blake walked in. He had a coffee in one hand and his gym bag over one shoulder. He stopped when he saw us. Not dramatically, just long enough for me to notice. Ryan noticed too. Morning, Blake said. Morning, Ryan answered. Blake looked at me. You two start early. I kept my voice casual. Some of us enjoy suffering before breakfast. Ryan almost smiled. Blake did not. He set his bag down near the bleachers and started tying his shoes while watching us through the reflection in the glass doors. That was when yesterday stopped feeling paranoid. Ryan had been right. Blake was paying attention. I bounced the ball once and leaned closer to Ryan. He is watching. Ryan did not turn his head. I know. Do we stop? No. Ryan stepped back into position. We finish. So we did. I ran the drill. Ryan called the play. Blake stayed near the sideline, pretending to check his phone. When practice officially started 20 minutes later, Ryan treated me exactly like everyone else, maybe even harder. Every mistake got corrected. Every good play got one short nod. Nothing Blake could point at. After practice, I headed toward the locker room when Ryan caught up beside me. You did good? I looked over. Careful, that sounded almost like praise. Do not tell anyone. Your reputation is safe. Ryan slowed near the hallway. His expression changed. Adrian. What? He glanced past me toward Blake, who was talking with another teammate across the gym. Do not stay late tonight. I frowned. Why? Ryan's voice dropped. Because I think he wants to catch us alone again. Before I could answer, Blake looked directly at us from across the court, and this time he did not pretend he was looking somewhere else. Blake held our gaze for another second, then turned back to his conversation, like nothing had happened. I looked at Ryan. That was subtle. He is done being subtle, Ryan said. Which is why you are leaving with the rest of the team today. I adjusted the strap of my bag. You realize ordering me not to stay late makes this sound worse. I am serious, Adrian. So am I. Ryan's jaw tightened slightly. Good. Then listen. I wanted to argue, mostly because Ryan telling me what to do had become an annoying habit, but there was something different in his voice. Not Captain Serious. Worried serious. So I nodded. Fine. I leave with everyone. Ryan relaxed by maybe 1%. Thank you. Do not get emotional. Go shower. There he is. I headed into the locker room, but the weird feeling followed me. 10 minutes later, it got worse. 2 teammates, Marcus and Devin, were talking quietly near the benches when I walked in. They stopped the second they saw me. That is never a good sign. Marcus suddenly became very interested in tying his shoes. Devin stared at his locker like it contained the answer to life. I dropped my towel on the bench. Okay. What did I miss? Nothing, Marcus said too quickly. That sounded extremely believable. Devin sighed. There is just some talk. My stomach tightened. About what? Marcus looked at Devin. Devin looked at Marcus. I pointed between them. This is not helping. Finally, Devin said, people are saying Ryan changed the rotation because you two are close. There it was. Blake's story had officially escaped into the wild. I kept my voice steady. People or Blake? Neither of them answered. That was an answer. I nodded slowly. Right. Marcus leaned forward. For what it is worth, I do not believe it. Very comforting that we have reached the courtroom phase of my basketball career. Devin almost smiled. Adrian, seriously, you earned your spot. I appreciated that more than I wanted to show. Thanks. Then Marcus added, but Coach Daniels asked Ryan to meet him after practice. My chest dropped. When? A few minutes ago. I was out of the locker room before I could convince myself not to care. Ryan was standing near the staff hallway with Coach Daniels. I could not hear everything, only pieces. Perception matters, Coach said. Ryan crossed his arms. So does performance. I know. Then Judge Adrian on that. Hearing my name made me stop. Coach lowered his voice. But Ryan did not. He earned every minute. I should have walked away. Instead, I stayed hidden behind the corner, like a mature adult with excellent boundaries. Coach finally said, until this settles down, no more private workouts with him. Ryan went still. You think that fixes the rumor? I think it removes fuel. Ryan looked across the gym and saw me. Great. Apparently, my excellent hiding skills needed work. Coach followed his eyes, noticed me, then gave Ryan one final look before leaving. I walked over slowly. So I guess morning practice is canceled. Ryan exhaled. For now. Because of Blake. Because I need to protect your place on this team. I hated how reasonable that sounded. And what about you? Ryan looked away. I can handle Blake? That is not what I asked. He finally met my eyes. Adrian, if people think I am favoring you, every good thing you do becomes suspicious. So your solution is to avoid me. My solution is to make sure nobody can take what you earned. That should have made me feel better. It did not. I stepped back. Fine, Captain. Ryan flinched at the word like he heard the distance I put into it. I turned toward the exit. Then Blake walked past us carrying his coffee cup, looked at Ryan, looked at me, and smiled. No late practice today? He asked. I stopped. Ryan did not answer. Blake kept walking. And that was the moment I understood something important. He did not just want Ryan's captaincy. He wanted us to know he could control what happened between us. Blake disappeared through the gym doors, but the smile he left behind stayed with me. Ryan watched him go, then looked back at me. Do not react. I stared at him. That advice would have been more useful 5 minutes ago. I mean it. So do I. Ryan rubbed the back of his neck and glanced toward the locker room. He wants a response. If you give him one, he gets to say you are emotional. I let out a slow breath. And if I stay quiet, he keeps doing this. For now. I hated those 2 words. You keep saying that like there is a secret plan. Ryan looked at me. There is. That stopped me. You could have led with that. I needed to know how far he would go. Apparently far enough to turn orange sports drinks into evidence. Ryan almost smiled. You are still on that? It was a good flavor. His expression softened for half a second, then he pulled his phone out. I talked to Coach Daniels after you left yesterday. About Blake? About the reports. I frowned. What reports? Ryan unlocked his phone and showed me a schedule log from the team system. Blake told the staff I changed your rotation before the last scrimmage. Did you? No. The rotation was entered 3 days earlier by Coach Daniels. I looked closer. So Blake lied. Or he counted on nobody checking the timestamp. My annoyance sharpened into something useful. That sounds checkable. Exactly. Ryan swiped to another screen. There is more. He told Marcus that I started your private workouts after you made the second unit. That is backward. By almost 2 weeks. I looked up at him. So he is not just spreading rumors. He is building a timeline that never happened. Ryan nodded. And bad timelines fall apart when people start comparing dates. For the first time since Blake walked into the gym that morning, I felt something besides frustration. You are collecting receipts. I am collecting facts. That is a much less satisfying phrase. It is also the one Coach Daniels will listen to. I handed the phone back. What do you need from me? Ryan hesitated. Nothing yet. Wrong answer. Adrian. No, you keep trying to protect me by making decisions without me. Ryan went quiet. I stepped closer, still leaving space between us. If this is about both of us, then I get a vote. His eyes stayed on mine. Fine. That sounded painful. It was. Good. Growth. Ryan actually laughed this time. Then he looked toward the far end of the gym. I need you to remember every extra practice we had. Dates, times, who was still around, anything you can verify. That I can do. And do not confront Blake. You really enjoy ruining my fun. Your idea of fun concerns me. My idea of fun is proving somebody wrong. Ryan raised an eyebrow. That is exactly what concerns me. I smiled despite myself. So what happens when we have everything? Ryan's expression became serious again. We let Blake tell his version one more time. Why? Because if he changes it after we show the records, he can call it confusion. I understood immediately. But if he says it first, in front of Coach, Ryan nodded. Then we compare his story to the actual timeline. I looked toward the gym doors. Blake had walked through. You want him to commit to the lie. I want him to have the chance to tell the truth. That is very noble. And if he does not? I looked back at Ryan. He held my gaze. Then he owns whatever happens next. The meeting happened the next afternoon, and Blake walked into Coach Daniels' office looking far too comfortable for someone whose timeline was held together by wishful thinking. I sat beside Ryan across from Coach, trying not to stare at the folder on the desk. Blake took the chair near the door. I am not trying to cause problems, he said. I almost laughed. Ryan did not move. Coach Daniels folded his hands. Then tell me exactly what happened. Blake nodded, like he had rehearsed this. Ryan started working privately with Adrian, after Adrian moved into the second unit. Then Adrian started getting more minutes. People noticed. Coach looked at Ryan. Anything you want to say? Ryan's voice stayed calm. Not yet. Blake glanced at him. That tiny smile came back. There were also times they stayed after everyone else left. I could feel Ryan beside me, completely still. Coach asked, how many times? Blake shrugged. Enough that it became obvious. I leaned forward. Obvious to who? Coach gave me a warning look. Adrian, sorry. I was not sorry. Blake continued. I just think the team deserves fairness. That nearly did it. Ryan put one hand flat on the table, not angry, just steady. Are you finished? Blake looked pleased. Yes. Ryan turned to Coach. Then we can check the dates. Blake's expression changed. Only slightly, but I saw it. Ryan opened his phone. My extra workouts with Adrian started on September 4th. Coach Daniels entered the second unit rotation on September 17th. Coach looked at his computer. That is correct. Blake shifted in his chair. I might have mixed up the timing. I looked at Ryan. There it was. Confusion. Exactly like Ryan predicted. Before either of us could answer, Coach Daniels' phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, frowned, then looked at us. What is this? My stomach dropped. A new photo had been posted in the team group chat. It showed Ryan and me leaving the gym together, after one of our late practices. The caption claimed Ryan had been hiding meetings with me for weeks. Nothing about it was true in the way Blake wanted people to believe. But facts were suddenly losing a race against screenshots. Coach Daniels stood. Ryan, Adrian, stay here. Blake looked down, pretending surprise so badly he deserved an award for confidence. Coach stepped into the hallway. I turned to Blake. Interesting timing. He lifted both hands. Do not look at me. Ryan spoke before I could. Adrian, do not. Blake smiled again. See, he even tells you when to talk. That landed exactly where he wanted. 5 minutes later, Coach returned with the athletic director. The room felt smaller immediately. The athletic director spoke carefully. Until we review the messages, photos, and practice records, Ryan, you are temporarily stepping back from captain duties. Ryan did not react. I did. What? Coach looked at me. Adrian, your rotation will also be reviewed. You are not being removed from the team, but you will not start this weekend. My face went hot. Blake stared at the floor. Ryan said quietly, Understood. I turned to him. That is it? His eyes met mine. Not here. That made me angrier. After the meeting, Ryan caught me in the hallway. Adrian, I kept walking. You told me facts would matter. They will. You just lost captaincy, temporarily. And I lost my start. Ryan stepped beside me. Then we prove why. I stopped. No, you protected me long enough. Ryan frowned. What does that mean? I looked back toward Coach's office where Blake was still inside. It means he got what he wanted for one day. Ryan studied me. And tomorrow? I finally smiled. Tomorrow I start taking it back. The next morning, I stopped waiting for Ryan to tell me what to do. I opened my calendar, pulled up every practice note I had saved, and started building the cleanest timeline of my life. Dates, times, who was still in the gym, which drills we ran, which coach had been present. It was not dramatic, but revenge apparently looked a lot like administrative work. By 8:30, I had 6 verified dates and 3 teammates willing to confirm them. Marcus was the easiest. "You want me to say I saw you practicing before the rotation changed?" he asked. "Only if you actually did." He stared at me. "That sounds suspiciously responsible. Ryan is ruining me." Devin was next. He checked his phone and nodded. "September 10th. I stayed late because I lost my charger." Romantic. It was under the bench. Even more romantic. He rolled his eyes. "You are taking this weirdly well." "I am not. I am just busy." That was the difference. Anger had finally found a job. By lunch, I had practice schedules, messages, and 2 photos with timestamps that proved Ryan had been training me before I ever moved into the second unit. I sent everything to Ryan. He replied 30 seconds later. "This is good." I stared at the message. That was it. 3 words. I typed back, "You have the emotional range of a parking meter." His reply came immediately. "Keep collecting." I smiled despite myself. Captain mode. Fine. After class, I went to the athletic office and requested copies of my official rotation history. The assistant coordinator, Ms. Parker, looked over her glasses at me. "You know these records are already under review. Exactly why I want my own copy. Planning to become a lawyer? Only if basketball keeps getting this complicated." She almost smiled, then printed the records. The dates matched Ryan's screenshots perfectly. More importantly, one entry showed something new. The change that moved me into the second unit had been approved by Coach Daniels and Assistant Coach Miller. Ryan had not entered it at all. I called him immediately. "You did not change my rotation, I told you that." "No, I mean you literally could not have. Your name is not even on the approval." Silence. Then Ryan said, "Send me that page." "Already did." "Adrian." His voice shifted. "This matters, I know. No, I mean it really matters." I leaned against the hallway wall. Because Blake did not just get the timeline wrong. He blamed me for a decision I never made. There it was. The lie had become specific enough to break. That evening, Ryan and I met in the student center. Not the gym, not alone. And definitely where half the campus could see us. Ryan spread the records across a table. September 4th, first extra workout. September 17th, rotation change. September 19th, Blake starts talking. I pointed to the approval sheet. And Ryan Carter, famous criminal mastermind, is nowhere on this form. He gave me a look. Focus. I am focused. You are enjoying this. A little. Ryan shook his head, but then his expression softened. You did good today. I leaned back. Twice in 1 week. You are getting reckless with praise. Do not make me take it back. Too late. Then Marcus texted me. I opened the message and stopped smiling. Ryan noticed immediately. What? I turned the phone toward him. Marcus had sent a screenshot from the team chat. Blake had told everyone Coach Daniels was meeting with us again tomorrow morning because Ryan had finally admitted favoritism. Ryan stared at the screen. I never admitted anything. I know. He looked at me. Tomorrow he is going to repeat it. I felt my anger settle into something calm. Useful. Good. Ryan frowned. Good? I locked my phone. You said we needed him to tell the story one more time. Ryan slowly understood. In front of Coach. I nodded. And this time I have the paperwork. The next morning, Coach Daniels called all 4 of us into the same office again, and this time I walked in carrying a folder thick enough to make me feel slightly dangerous. Ryan noticed it and raised an eyebrow. Subtle. I learned from Blake. Blake was already seated near the door, looking confident again. That confidence lasted exactly 30 seconds. Coach Daniels sat behind his desk. The athletic director stood beside the window. We are going to settle this today, Coach said. Blake, You told several teammates that Ryan admitted giving Adrian special treatment. Is that accurate? Blake did not hesitate. Yes. Ryan looked at me. I looked at him. There it was. Coach leaned forward. When did he admit that? Blake shifted slightly. After our meeting yesterday. Ryan finally spoke. Where? Blake looked at him. In the hallway. Which hallway? Ryan asked. Blake frowned. Outside this office. Coach Daniels looked at Ryan. Ryan shook his head. That conversation never happened. Blake gave a short laugh. Of course, you would say that. I opened my folder. Good thing this is not about what he says. Everyone looked at me. I placed the official rotation history on Coach's desk. This shows the second unit change was approved by you and assistant Coach Miller. Ryan was not part of the approval. Coach picked up the page and studied it. Correct. Blake leaned back. That does not prove there was no favoritism. You are right, I said. So let us keep going. Ryan almost smiled. I pulled out the practice timeline. Our first extra workout was September 4th. My rotation changed September 17th. Coach compared the dates on his computer. Also correct. I looked directly at Blake. You told people the private workout started after I got promoted. Blake's expression tightened. I remembered it differently. By almost 2 weeks, people forget dates. Absolutely, I nodded. That is why I asked other people. Marcus and Devin were waiting outside. Coach called them in one at a time. Marcus confirmed, seeing Ryan train me before the rotation change. Devin confirmed September 10th. Because he had stayed late looking for his charger. Blake stared at the desk now. The athletic director spoke. Blake, did you verify any of your claims before sharing them? Blake looked up. I was concerned about the team. Ryan finally leaned forward. Then why did you tell people I admitted something I never admitted? Silence. Coach Daniels asked again. Blake? Blake exhaled. Maybe somebody misunderstood what I said. I could not help myself. That is a lot of misunderstanding following one person around. Coach gave me a look. I raised both hands. I am done. Then the athletic director placed another document on the desk. We also reviewed the group chat screenshots. Blake went pale. My pulse jumped. The photo posted during yesterday's meeting, he continued, was uploaded from an account linked to Blake's university login. Blake sat up. I did not post it. The athletic director remained calm. Then we will let campus technology review that separately. But the account record is clear. Blake looked at Ryan, then me, like one of us was supposed to save him. Neither of us moved. Coach Daniels closed the folder. Blake, effective immediately, you are removed from the leadership group. You are suspended from team activities, while the athletic department completes its review. Blake stared at him. Coach, this conversation is over. Blake stood slowly, grabbed a bag and left without looking at us. The door closed. For 3 seconds, nobody spoke. Then Coach looked at Ryan. Your captain duties are restored. He turned to me. And your rotation review is closed. You start this weekend. I should have felt victorious. I did, very much. But when Ryan looked at me, proud and relieved, that feeling changed into something warmer. Outside the office, he caught up beside me. You enjoyed that. A little. You had witnesses. I had paperwork. Ryan laughed. Then he stopped walking. Adrian. What? His expression softened. Thank you for standing with me. I smiled. You stood with me first. Ryan held my gaze for a long second. Then maybe we stopped taking turns. My heartbeat stumbled. Meaning? He smiled slightly. Meaning from now on we stand together. By Saturday night, Ryan had his captain badge back. I had my starting spot back. And somehow the hardest part was pretending any of that mattered more than what he had said in the hallway. We stand together. 3 words should not have lived in my head for 2 straight days. But apparently my brain had quit basketball and become a full-time Ryan Carter department. The gym was packed for our home game. When Coach Daniels announced the starting 5, Marcus bumped my shoulder. Try not to look emotional. I am not emotional. Devin leaned over. You look like you are about to thank the academy. Both of you are terrible friends. Across the court, Ryan heard us and smiled. That did not help. We won by 11. I scored 14 points. Ryan had 9 assists. And for the first time in weeks, nobody was watching us because of rumors. They were watching because we were good together. After the final buzzer, teammates crowded around us. Coach shook my hand. Good response this week. Thank you, Coach. He looked at Ryan. Captain, get them through cooldown. Ryan nodded. You heard him move. Marcus groaned. Power already went to his head. Ryan pointed toward the baseline. Run. I laughed. I missed this. Ryan looked at me. You missed me ordering people around? Do not make it weird. You made it weird first. Later, after showers and team meetings, I walked out of the locker room expecting everyone to be gone. Ryan was waiting near the gym doors. You staying late again? I asked. He shook his head. Not secretly. My heart immediately forgot how to behave. That sounds suspiciously specific. Come with me. Where? 10 feet. Very mysterious. He walked toward center court, and I followed. The gym was mostly empty now, but not completely. Marcus was still packing his bag near the bleachers. Devin was talking to an assistant coach. Coach Daniels was across the floor, checking something with staff. Ryan stopped at center court. Adrian. That tone usually means paperwork or emotional damage. He laughed quietly. Then his expression changed. Softer. Nervous, which was new enough to scare me. I spent weeks trying to protect you by creating distance. I noticed. I thought if people stopped looking at us, you would be safe. Also noticed. Ryan looked down for a second. I was wrong. I waited. He looked back at me. I do not want to hide the fact that you matter to me. Every joke disappeared from my mouth. Ryan, you do not have to answer right now. That would be unfair. Why? I stepped closer, still leaving space between us. Because I have been waiting for you to say something like that since approximately forever. His smile came slowly. Approximately? Do not ruin my moment. Ryan laughed, then reached out and held my hand. Not under a table. Not behind a closed door. Right there at center court. Marcus noticed first. His eyebrows went up. Devin looked over and grinned. Nobody made a scene. Nobody needed to. Ryan glanced around once, then back at me. You okay? I tightened my fingers around his. Ask me again when my heartbeat becomes normal. That could take a while. Your fault. I can live with that. I looked at the captain I had once admired from a distance. Then feared, then argued with, then trusted. Somewhere along the way, I had stopped wanting his approval. I wanted his honesty, his stupid short text messages, his terrible timing, his hand in mine when everyone could see it. Ryan squeezed my hand once. Ready? I smiled. For what? He nodded toward the exit, to leave together. This time I did not look around to see who was watching. Yeah, I said. Together. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share it with friends who might enjoy it too. We would love to know where you are watching from. Tell us your city and country in the comments. More heartfelt and unforgettable LGBTQ stories are already waiting for you. See you in the next one.